everyone, on a chilly Saturday in October. It's the NDSU Bison pregame show along with Jeff Kolpack. I'm Izzo. Homecoming is #1 ranked. NDSU gets set to host 3rd ranked Youngstown State. We've gotten so big, we even have fans watching us now. It's out of control.
You know, I'm in Sweet Kate 08 spot, so thanks, Sweet Kate, for letting me sit here.
The man who is in charge of all this is Mitch Okeson, who's hosting us here today. Tell me about how this originated. You got a huge crowd here.
Yeah, we got a lot of friends here. This is actually our 8th season that we formally put the tailgate together group. And we started with 4. There's now a group of 39 of us in a season ticket group, and we do this every week with each other.
It's a great setup here, isn't it?
You know, and that's what it's all about in tailgating. You know, good friends, good times, and good food, too, right?
That's right. Hopefully you guys get into that here later.
Thanks for hosting us today. I appreciate it.
You got it. Thank you, guys.
Mitch Okeson hosting us here today. All right, to the game of the day as Eric Peterson joins us here shortly. Youngstown comes in. They're trying to become the first team, Jeff, since UND won in 94, 96, and 98 to win 3 straight times at the Dome.
You know, I don't know if Youngstown can do it. That's a good question. We'll get into our predictions later on, but UND won 3 in a row because they were just the better team. Yeah. I mean, they had out-recruited NDSU during that period. They had better talent. They had Jim Kleinsasser. I mean, that was a good era for UND. I don't know if Youngstown has that quite talent to match NDS, you know, to beat NDSU 3 straight times. Right. That's going to be a tough order.
You mentioned the quarterbacks earlier in the paper. It doesn't get any better than Kurt Hess and Brock Jensen. Jensen's been sensational so far this season, each of them with a completion percentage near 70%.
Yeah, both of them are throwing 8 touchdowns, no interceptions over his last 19 starts. Brock Jensen, 18-1, 22 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. That's pretty good stuff.
Obviously, the story of the week was the fact that Sam Ojuri will not play today. We're hearing John Crockett also tweaked an injury as well. He's a game-time decision. That's 2 huge guys to be out of the Bison lineup. Obviously, that's number 1 and 2 running back. How does NDSU, can they adjust if those guys neither one play?
Well, they can because they have some running backs. I think they'll be okay there, even though they don't have their stars. And even if Crockett doesn't play, the guy they can't lose is Grant Olson. I mean, he's the middle linebacker. I don't know if there's a lot behind him. At least in running backs, they got some players who have carried the ball.
You mentioned Olson. We also mentioned earlier in the week of how good this defense was. We saw last week they were vulnerable against Northern Iowa. You expect a bounce-back performance today?
Well, they need a bounce-back performance because Kurt Hess is as good as it gets in the conference, maybe other than Brock Jensen. And Northern Iowa hit some passes, so I think early in the game that Bison secondary has got to tighten up a little bit.
We'll be also watching a couple other games in the Missouri Valley today. Northern Iowa has the week off. South Dakota State has the week off. Indiana State does not. It's a big game with them hosting Missouri State as they try to get back into the Missouri Valley race.
You know, they need to win, but this is the game of the not only the conference but of the whole subdivision. Right?
I was going to ask you both that here before we get to our predictions. We mentioned last year was 2 versus 3 when Northern Iowa played the Bison. Is this the biggest game in Dome history?
I still think that Georgia Southern semifinal game is the biggest game, but this could very well be the biggest regular season game played in the park.
I disagree. I think Northern Iowa was a measuring stick for NDSU, so I think the NDSU Northern Iowa was bigger than this, but this is pretty good too.
Number 1 versus number 3 in the nation. Each game in this series has not been decided by more than 8 points or less, so we're guaranteed a good game. It's time for our Saturday selections. E, I'll have you lead off.
I'm going to do something that's never been done on the history of the blog. In the newspaper, I had the Bison 28-24 because of Brock Jensen, the defense. On the media blog, I'm going to go with the Penguins.
Oh.
By that very same 28-24 score because of Kurt Hess and the fact I have a Penguin in my pocket right now. So in the spirit of political season, I'm going to be half right.
So either way, in the paper or on the blog.
I'm going to be right on the blog or in the paper.
He's bringing out props again after the mince last week. I think it's going to be another fabulous game. I have the Bison winning 27-20. They'll stop that Youngstown State offense here today. I saved the best for last. What do you see here today?
I don't know. I don't know if I could top that, but.
Oh, boy. Oh, look at this.
Here's my pick.
I guess that's all that needs to be said. The Bison pregame show wrapping up here. Stay tuned. The live blog starts in about an hour. And, of course, full highlights and reaction on WDAY. And then the postgame show after as NDSU and Youngstown State set to go here at the Dome.